Hi, I'm Jay. I wanted to put a video together because I decided just a few days ago I was messing around with how I would go about doing semantic searches. Semantic search kind of got my interest. One, because it's database, which I like doing, working with databases, and just writing overall tools. And just practicing, spending a few hours here and there. Um, Now, I wanted to put this video together. Maybe someone similar might be interested. It's not going to be a full-blown coding. It's more of an example of how I approach it. Certainly, this is very educational, very high level, but it's a start, I think, and I wanted to share that knowledge. Hopefully, it'll spark interest on a lot of people, and maybe even help someone kind of start them off because they were asked to do some sort of semantic search. So hopefully, this will work, or at least hopefully this will help. So this is what this video is about. The code is already in place, as you can see on the left side of my screen, and then the output, which is in PowerShell. Okay, it is in Python. I am using Flask server backend. So the way I wanted to just illustrate how this would work is um, providing that we have all the code in place so you're able to code. But basically, what it is that I have a set of data. Um, actually, so this backend here, this is in Flask. I use Flasks because it was just really quick, fast, simple to put together, kind of like similar to Express.js. The data set is very small, but I think with this small, simple example, it illustrates the power of doing a semantic search on a very simple level. Basically, the goal, if this is running, let me just go ahead and run this. Okay, now that we've got this running, which is on port 5001, um, just going to test everything through Postman. We're not going to have any fancy UI. Maybe going forward, we'll have one of these. But the idea is that based on this data, you have a keyword, let's say XQ, XC, and Q, which in here, I believe you can see it here. Okay. And when we just click on send, so you can see it actually generates the embedded, which is it basically takes all of the text that you see here and it creates a matrix or vertex. Okay, as you can see, just with that keyword X, C, and Q, it actually picked up this line right here, which is specific to this line right here. And so, for example, now that we know it's picking up something that's close by, in fact, we could actually change this to Oslo. And as you can see, it actually picked up the line that's close to it. And then it just, I use a little bit of Chat GPT prompt nest here so that it says, okay, Oslo, capital of Norway, but based on this complete complete result, it actually explained away, yeah, the Oslo Stock Exchange. So, I mean, how did I do this? Okay, and I have an endpoint called Semantic, and um, basically the idea is that it passes a keyword, and it'll pass a keyword, and it will pick up the closest to it using embedded and embedding and using the cosine similarity functions. These are all on OpenAI. So without going too deep into what we need when you have Flask, obviously you'll have to see. I'm going to assume you'll be able to set a Flask and everything, and the endpoints you'll be able to. What's important is um, for now, what we need is you need to do a pip install of paraphrase mini LM, and I'll explain a little bit of what use that is. Um, And then the model, right now I'm just using this, the cheapest, because again, it's just experimental. It's like some sort of sandbox. Eventually, you want it to go ahead and use and set up your open API key, which you can get from uh, ChatGPT. Should be able to get that. Okay. So line by line, this is just this variable here is just picking up the top result. There could be multiple results, but I'm just picking up the first one. Again, because it's just a sandbox. This is just basically when we pass Postman, it's going to look for the word keyword, okay, and it's going to get the value out of that keyword. Okay. And then on that model of DaVinci Text 2, the document, which is all of the data we're using, will be encoded into this model. We'll save it into the document embeddings. Okay. And then we're going to take the query, that keyword, encoded into a thing called query underscore embedding variable. Cosine similarity. This is the key piece here. Basically, what it will do is it will take, using cosine formula, it will take the similarity. And this is where the part where you see the value, the embedding, where it takes all of those plain text and changes it into integer. And then the result, which may come close based on the similarities variable, it's now in the top indices. Again, top one is what top underscore K1. I'm just taking the top result. Okay. And then it's going through the similarities and returning a result of it. Okay. Now, this line here, threshold, is basically like the temperature in ChatGPT, if you're familiar with it. It's just saying the higher the number, the more it's going to look for something that's a lot more closer. And then the lower the number, something that's a little bit more flexible. Okay, so you kind of have to also play around with it to get the kind of your desired result, much like what you have to do when you do prompt engineering in ChatGPT Playground. Okay, here we're filtering now based on, let's get this moved over here. Based on the threshold, we're filtering the result that we get from the embedded. Because remember, we are preparing everything on top here. Okay, so we're preparing that, and the result, when it finds it, we want to just basically print to see that we found it. This is that part where you saw earlier with the embedded values number, numeric values. And then we're going to put this on a list and we'll print the list, which is basically the result of what we find. Okay. Okay. Now that we've got this started, let's go ahead and open up um, our cool Postman. And let's just test the AWS. When it runs for the first time, it actually takes a bit. As you can see now, it didn't pick up anything because now we are a little bit more picky. We don't just pick anything that we want. And we've set it up to a little bit more, uh, I guess you would say a little bit more liberal and just whatever you could find. So we're not pretty strict. Okay. So it didn't find that, but you notice that it still came back with a complete response. That's because down here, I went ahead and I went ahead and created a prompt, use a little bit of prompt engineering, and I just asked ChatGPT to provide a natural response based on my keyword or basically on that query, which in this case is AWS, and then based on the result list, which in this case, it didn't find anything. However, it still at least provided some sort of meaningful response. But a little bit of experimentation we can actually go here because I also have a test data to grab it. And we can actually say, yeah, you know what, let's get this Euronext. Bring it here, Euronext. It actually found it. In Euronext, it did find it. It did explain what this is. I'm just curious. Again, this is just playing around. Let's change this to 9. We'll restart the server. Okay, so now that we've restarted the server, because we changed the sensitivity, the threshold to 9 to be a little bit more picky, we'll look for anything that consists of AB. Because we restarted the server, everything's being reloaded in memory again. So you may give it a little bit more time to run. Did not find anything. Have to be a bit more explicit. Let's change this back to 3. So let's look at our data and just say systematic initializer. Please tell me more about initializer. Do a send. It actually found. It's all based on the keyword, right? And then because of a little bit of chat GPT, we get a nice response. So it's not fully semantic, but it does illustrate some power using a little bit of prompt engineering and a little bit of the little bit of um, um, embedded searches. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of understanding, give someone an idea how this would work. So hopefully you'll continue to subscribe and follow this because I will be adding um, a little bit more features on this. Thanks for watching.